let's take one more business-related, funding-related issue, and that is the Virgin River Habitat Conservation Plan. Recently, there's been some discussion about perhaps working with Clark County to go back under their purview and remove the second fee that we have only in Mesquite. You know, right now we have a Clark
correct.
County fee, we have a City of Mesquite fee, and shortly we'll have a
third
Virgin
fee.
River fee, or
Correct.
I'm sorry, Virgin Valley Water District fee. Do you see that as an economic development issue?
Absolutely. It comes to the point where the combined three fees are probably equivalent to the value of the property that you're dealing with.
Close.
Yeah. We're no longer in the $100,000 in the boondocks per acre land. This stuff's back down to $3,000 and $2,000 or whatever the market will bring, which isn't much. And then a developer looks and he starts adding up the bottom line. He said, let's say I've got 3 development fees. Phooey, I'm out of here. I'll go elsewhere where I can get a better deal. And that's, I think, how most developers work.
Well, especially in these current times.
So to answer your question, yeah, I beg Clark County to get back in with them and follow through with what should have occurred probably a long time ago as far as working together with them. Back down to 1 fee.
Okay. Let's go to probably the most emotional issue that you've had to deal with in the last year, and that's the Gold Butte National Conservation Area issue. It came up about 2 months ago now, to either do away with the city resolution supporting the NCA designation or to keep it on.
Well, that you know, of all the questions and all the issues so far, to me that's been one of the most confusing issues. And the reason I find it confusing, I've been out to Gold Butte, looked around quite a bit of Gold Butte. To me it is not a big deal. If it was left alone altogether and with nothing done to it, it would probably be that way in 5,000 years. You know, it's just, it's been there for what?
Well,
almost 1 billion now. And I say that, you know, not tongue in cheek, about 1 billion years probably since the geological formations have taken place.
Mm-hmm.
There's been people going through there since probably around 900 when the pre-Anastasies came through there. It's basically, except for Whitney Pockets area, I can't see much change out there. Yet we're spending a tremendous amount of time being concerned whether it's going to be an economic boom to the community, whether it isn't going to be a boom to the community. I don't know. I think we have bigger issues on hand than Gold Butte. I don't know if it's going to go away. I don't know what the legislature on the federal level is going to do with it. They may do nothing. Introducing a bill and trying to push it through doesn't mean anything is going to occur.
Well, there is a person in town, Doug Reith, who is an avid ATV enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
His idea for generating economic activity, not development, activity, from Gold Butte is to make Mesquite an ATV mecca. In other words, use Gold Butte not to cut it off from certain user groups,
mm-hmm.
but to expand it to certain user groups. Keep the few acres of wilderness that we have now that's strictly for hiking, and then use the rest of it to draw in ATV groups, generate economic activity in Mesquite through that usage. The mayor and Councilman Hafen have said during their interviews they want a boat ramp. The road to the boat ramp on this side of Lake Mead would actually go through Gold Butte.
Correct.
So those are some ideas people have for generating economic activity off of Gold Butte. Do you?
In other words, could they be done without destroying the ecological values of the place? I'm sure they could. Gold Butte is
Would that
massive.
Be yeah.
It's going to take a lot of planning in order to pull that one off. Of course, you've got the federal government involved. You've got so many special interest groups involved in this thing. I think we still need to sit back and look at it, and look at it, and look at it before we make any major decisions. Because once you do some of these things, you're done. As far as making it this total wilderness area where no one can ever enter and so forth and so on, I'm not sure that that's the right answer either. Because then we have no economic value out of it whatsoever for us. Can't use it, isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
As far as an ATV, might work. I'm not sure that we can become a mecca of anything.
Well, that's my word, I think.
We're a small community. Can we draw all of this to Mesquite? I don't think Gold Butte's the answer. I don't think it would draw. Not to that number. You've got 5 months out of the year that you've got to be really adventurous to go into that place with the weather.
Right.
There are no
but we could have the ATV convention inside the sports complex.
In the sports complex, right. Well, I had suggested we look at something like the pink Jeep concept.
Pink Jeep?
Yeah, they use them down in Sedona. It's made mega millions of dollars and drawn millions of tourists into that area.
And what is that?
The Pink Jeep Tours started out a little tiny company in Sedona with a couple of Jeeps. They painted them bright pink, and they take the tourists out in the sticks outside of Sedona. Well, I was down there or through there about a month ago, and there's variations of that all over the place now, with people literally lined up to get in the doors to pay their $35 or $40 to go out and bounce around out there for a few hours, and the guide stops and you look at this site and you look at that site, and tourists love it. And it's a big attraction.
Wow.
In fact, if they were to allow something like that in Gold Butte, and I thought it was practical, I'd probably want to get in that business myself. And I did it myself. It's a lot of fun.
Huh.
You're not ATVing. You're not driving them yourself.
Yeah.
You've got guides, and they're taking you, I'm sure, on approved pathways and so forth.
Right.
So that you're not messing up the place, and everything is done business-like. I'm a little leery sometimes. You got 1,000 ATVs running around out there. What might happen to the place?
Yeah.
So yeah, it needs to be controlled, and I think that's the key to everything.
I appreciate your time today. Just one more question. Two more questions, actually. What issue would you like to see the council work on in the next year?
Well, one of the issues that I think we do need to work on, and it was brought up by Councilman Haven, is right-of-way fees.
Okay.
That's why I commented at the last council meeting, and the paper sort of quotes me as saying that I went along with staff, only in as much as we do need to look at a number of scenarios before we go ahead one way or another. To say, no, we're not cutting this because we need that money is pretty definitive, and to say, well, let's just eliminate these fees, boom, 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 down the line over a period of years, might not be the answer either. We've got to massage this carefully and look at it. I'd like to see those fees at least reduced, if nothing else. But again, not at the expense of the part of the city where we say, hey, wait a minute, we can't fix our streets because you guys gave away the money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. I went home right after the council meeting, and I was just sitting down in my chair and I'm thinking, what are some of the ways we could work with this? And I thought to myself, you know, we can compromise. Why not look at reducing them 50% over 6 years? So we're not giving away the place, yet we're reducing the fees to maybe a more acceptable amount.
One of the issues that I thought of after that meeting Tuesday night when you had the discussion about the right-of-way fees, and someone said it's $3.64 a month, I don't mind paying that. I think that's true for individual homeowners, But I think there's a more significant impact to businesses because they pay 3% on all of their electricity use.
Yes, they do, and it's
and
a sizable amount.
That is significant for some of these businesses.
Yeah. Oftentimes...
That may be an item the Mesquite Citizen Journal delves into a little bit more.
Well, there's so many ways of looking at this. For instance, our property taxes. Commercial pay a different rate than residential.
Yes.
You've got the 8% cap versus the 3% cap.
Right.
So it's not something we couldn't look at to change the percentages. You've got people that live in apartments. They get a power bill because they're individually metered, and they're paying it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have benefits out of any of this. And then sometimes we come across with these fees or taxes, whatever you want to call them, and we think we're doing a good thing, and we never get rid of them. And I can
that's true.
I can think of a number of them. You know,
once government gets in your pocket, it doesn't get out.
There was a tax that came about in 1942 on automotive tires, and it was an excise tax, and they called it an excise tax. And that tax was to be eliminated at the end of World War II. That was strictly for the rubber during World War II, and that tax went on for some 40 years past World War II. There was a telephone tax. We had a luxury tax in the United States, I recall, on jewelry.
Right.
There was a tax on ladies' hosiery that was supposed to last for the war, so that the nylon that was just coming in could be used for parachutes instead of... So, you know, these things, once we put them on, sometimes we forget to take them off.
Yes.
So we pay for the thing countless times.
Yeah. Well, our last question, I realize it's a year away, but you're going to be up for re-election next year in 2013. What do you intend to run for re-election?
If I'm as healthy as I am now, absolutely. And to me, that right now would be a key factor. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to be hindered because I've got to run. You know, and I feel great now. I enjoy this very, very much. And I see absolutely no reason why I wouldn't want to run again.
Well, it's going to be a 5.5-year term.
Yes, it will. So what am I... making the assumption that I run, and I'm sure I will, and making a positive assumption, because I'm a very positive person, that I'll be able to win re-election. You want to ask the question, what are my political ambitions after that? The rocking chair, I hope.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Councilman Littman. We appreciate your time today. Great conversation.
You're welcome.
And we appreciate your service on the dais.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it immensely.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.